started. Welcome in. Welcome in. Give me that damn sound check if you don't mind. All right. Get rid of this music. All right. So everyone, welcome in. Let me say hello to the chat before we get rolling. Let's see what we got here. We got K West. Welcome in, K West. All right. I see why. Icy. Welcome in. Welcome into you. Foxy Lady. Welcome in, Foxy Lady. Hey, let me do this. Let me see if I can put this shit up on the screen. Let's see. Foxy Lady says hello. All right. All right. And what we got? ICY says, sounds like it has. Oh boy. Guessing the news of Trump's conviction has spread. Okay, Zero Cool says, good evening, sir. Good evening, Zero Cool. Like number 2. Everyone hit the like, please. If you're in here, might as well. What harm does it do? Hit the like. All right, Bobby Smith. Hello, Prof and friends. Welcome in, Bobby Smith. Let me hit that mocha, please. Let me hit that mocha. All right. All right, Marianne Foster. Sorry, but I guess you're just insanely gaslit by the mainstream media. So I don't know. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Let's see. Carol says hello, Prof and chat. Welcome in, Carol. Welcome in. All right, Kayla. Welcome in. Four Pitts. Welcome in. All right. We rise, we fall, we rise again. All right. What exactly did he do? Smuggle children across the border for sex trafficking purposes? Oh, my bad. That was Hillary Clinton. Yep. Oh, and Hunter Biden. But yeah, we'll get into that. What up, Carol? Sound is good? Perfect. Well, how America just became a third world country. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's called Lawfare, and it's treasonous. And see, they do not want an election. And we're not going to talk about the previous election, but I think that's pretty clear as to what happened during that election, which was pretty much what was claimed. But anyway, they do not want another election because they're absolutely terrified because Trump is killing all the polls. I mean, it's a fucking landslide. It's a tidal wave. It's a done deal. So they got to do something like put him in prison. Can you tell me the felon that he was charged with, the felonies? Well, accounting issues that were committed by his attorneys. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Bobby Smith says, bingo. Nancy Drew, welcome in. What a crazy time to be alive. It's historic. Today was a historic day. And hey, let's get into some litmus test of some of the opinions here. Tell you what, today is a day that will go down in history because we now know that current and former presidents have the possibility of being prosecuted and imprisoned, which means watch out, Biden. Okay, so minutes after the jury returned a guilty verdict in former President Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York, an influx of donations to his presidential campaign as an apparent show of support caused his donation page to temporarily become available. Yes, they have crashed the donation website for Mr. Trump. A jury found the former president guilty on May 30th in a case in which President Trump was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to conceal non-disclosure payments to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, as part of an attempt to influence the 2016 presidential election in which he was a candidate. Within minutes of the jury returning the verdict, President Trump's donation page displayed a 500 error stating that something went wrong, leading to widespread speculation that a tidal wave of donations underway, possibly out of a combination of support for the former president and outrage at the guilty verdict. The Trump campaign later confirmed that the page was down due to a torrent of donations. The American people see through the crooked Joe Biden's rigged show trial. So many Americans were moved to donate to President Trump's campaign that the WinRed pages went down. The Team Trump account on X said in a post, "We are working on getting the website back online as quickly as possible. Stay strong." The page has since gone back up, with the Trump campaign confirming that fact in a follow-up post. Senator J.D. Vance, Republican of Ohio, a staunch supporter of President Trump, took to X to say that the best way to fight back right now against the sham trial is to donate to the Trump campaign, while sharing a link to a Never Surrender donation page that features a message from the former president. "I'm a political prisoner," reads the message, which features President Trump's signature and a photo of his mugshot. "I was just convicted in a rigged political witch hunt trial. They've raided my home, arrested me." Yes, by the way, with the permission to use deadly force against a former president of the United States, and now just convicted me, reads the message, with the former president calling on his supporters to donate and send a message to President Joe Biden that his chances of a second term in office will end today. Yeah, it just did. But for that to happen, our immediate pushback must be so massive it will go down in history, President Trump continued. Like Mr. Vance, other Republicans condemned the guilty verdict, which made President Trump the first former president in U.S. history to be convicted of a crime. Although we know that Richard Nixon existed, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton existed, and Barack Obama existed, and George Bush the younger existed, and George Bush the elder existed. And how many other presidents existed that certainly were war criminals, international criminals, and domestic criminals? Okay, but Trump is now facing a criminal future for payments to an attorney. Okay. Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain, Biden-Harris 2024 Communications Director Michael Tyler said in a statement. Oh, by the way, did you guys see the unhinged Robert De Niro in his unhinged rant the other day at the courthouse? Boy, that was a shit show. That was a shit show. White House spokesperson Ian Sam said in a post on X, "We respect the rule of law. Have no additional comment." An attorney for the former president told CNN before the jury delivered the verdict that his legal team would be prepared to quickly appeal, putting the hands in the case of New York Court of Appeals, which ain't going nowhere, because I don't know if you checked up on them, but they are all crooks. After less than 2 days of deliberation, by the way, less than 2 days of deliberation on how many counts? 34 counts. A jury of 12 unanimously found President Trump guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. That's right, not killing innocent civilians overseas like every single other president has done and Biden is doing right now. That's right. Are we lying to ourselves in that President Biden is not committing international proxy warfare with Russia and with Palestinians? But whole other subject there. Judge Juan Merchan, who sparked controversy with instructions to the jury that they didn't need to agree on all elements of an underlying crime that was key to elevating into a felony that would normally be a misdemeanor charge, set the former commander-in-chief's sentencing date for July 11th. "It's all in the instructions," Philip Klein, a law professor at Liberty University and former Kansas Attorney General, wrote in a post on X commenting on the jury instructions. Judge Merchan has, through delay and obfuscation, hampered the preparation of a defense, constructed a manner for the jury to convict without agreement on what crime was committed, and paved the way through allowing irrelevant evidence for mere animus towards Trump to convict. Welcome to the left's living constitution. Not only that, we know that Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen both lied on the stand. President Trump's sentencing is just 4 days before the date of the Republican National Convention, when the former president is set to be formally designated as the Republican presidential nominee. The verdict came after a 6-week sham trial with testimony from 22 witnesses, with closing arguments on May 28th and jury deliberation for 2 days. In the case, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg charged President Trump with 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to conceal an alleged $130,000 non-disclosure payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Mr. Bragg alleged that the records fraud was used to cover up or commit another underly crime, namely a conspiracy to promote or prevent an election by unlawful means. Yes, do you want to discuss elections and election fraud and election interference? Because we know that is exactly what this is. I mean, it's not clear to everyone. Even my most far-leaning lifelong friend, he text messaged me today, and let me read the text he sent, because I'm not going to tell you who he is or what he does, but trust me, this is a liberal if there ever was one. But this dude today, because we're best friends, he texted me and he said, well, he sent this. Okay, so let me show you this, because this is another pertinent point. Okay, he sent this. Can you see that? Ukraine can use U.S. weapons for limited strikes in Russia, Biden says. This was simultaneous. Okay, so basically the Biden administration waited until this guilty verdict was announced to simultaneously drop this news. Because why? Because they knew that the news of President Trump's conviction would steal the thunder from that devastating news that U.S. is allowing proxy war on Russian soil, which means World War III. And you think that Putin doesn't know that this is happening? And he said that, and he said, what a coincidence. Okay. Now, this is the most far left-leaning person that I know. He said, I don't like the guy, never did, but it's really obvious this was a hit job. Speaking of Trump, I don't like the guy, never did, but it's obvious this was a hit job. And that's what I mean. It's even obvious to the most left-leaning individuals that you should know. Let's get back on this. If you find the people have proven beyond a reasonable doubt each of these two elements, you must find the defendant guilty of the crime, he said. The underlying crime that President Trump was accused of intending to commit, aid, or conceal is a violation of New York election law, which provides that any two or more persons who conspire to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means, in which conspiracy is acted upon by one or more of the parties thereto, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. Even though the judge said that the jury must be unanimous on the two elements, he told them they don't need to agree on some of the unlawful means that are part of the alleged underlying crime that allows the charge to be elevated to a felony. Speaking to the press after the verdict was announced, Mr. Shitbags Bragg declined to reveal whether the prosecutors will seek a prison sentence for the former president. Oh, I guarantee you they intend to do all they can to prevent him from ever being elected president, just like they did 4 years ago. While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrive today at this trial and ultimately this verdict in the same manner as every other case bullshit that comes through the courtroom doors. Bullshit. This was a witch hunt. This was political lawfare. He said at a press conference held hours after the juries convicted the former president. Mr. Bragg declined to answer questions related to sentencing, saying that only that prosecutors would present their arguments to court through motions at the hearing. I did my job. Yes, you definitely got 34 felony convictions on President Donald Trump, and so that was your job. You are a hitman, and that was your job. Our job is to follow the facts without fear or favor. Well, I don't believe that one, Mr. Bragg. Okay, so let's take a little pause here. Let's take a little pause, and I want you to read something. We're going to do a quick little terminology clarification. We're going to read about lawfare. Lawfare is the use of legal systems and institutions to damage or delegitimize an opponent or to deter an individual's usage of their legal rights. The term may refer to the use of such legal systems and principles against an enemy, such as by damaging or delegitimizing them, wasting their time or money. Example, strategic lawsuits against public participation, or winning a public relations victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this ticks all the boxes. Alternatively, it may describe a tactic used by repressive regimes, the Biden administration, puppet regime, to label and discourage civil society or individuals from claiming their legal rights via national or international legal systems. This is especially common in situations when individuals in civil society use nonviolent methods to highlight or oppose discrimination, corruption, lack of democracy, limiting free speech, violations of human rights, and violations of international humanitarian law. The term is a portmanteau of the words law and warfare. Perhaps the first use of the term lawfare was in the 1975 manuscript Whither Goeth the Law, which argues that the Western legal system has become overly rational and treats persons like objects as compared to the so-called community law, which is based more on humanity and intuition. And as an example of such an approach, the Confucian Code of Propriety is mentioned, which was used in China and Korea in the past. A more frequently cited use of the term is found in a 2001 essay authored by Charles J. Dunlap Jr., in which Dunlap defines lawfare as the use of law as a weapon of war. That is, a method of warfare where law is used as a means of realizing a military objective. He later expanded on the definition, describing lawfare as the exploitation of real, perceived, or even orchestrated incidents of law of war violations being employed as an unconventional means of confronting a superior military power. In this sense, lawfare may be a more humane substitute for military conflict, although Dunlop considers lawfare a cynical manipulation of the rule of law and the humanitarian values it represents. Benjamin Wrights, Robert Chesney, and Jack Goldsmith employ the word in the name of the Lawfare website, which focuses on national security law and has explored the debate over the definition of lawfare and whether it should be considered exclusively a pejorative. Lawfare may invoke the law of a nation turned against its own officials. Let's reread that. Lawfare may involve the law of a nation turned against its own officials, but more recently it has been associated with the spread of universal jurisdiction, that is, one nation or an international organization hosted by that nation reaching out to seize and prosecute officials of another. Okay. Harvard School of Law professor Jack Goldsmith, an opponent to the expansion of international human rights and universal jurisdiction, states in his book, The Terror Presidency, that Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld was concerned with the possibility of lawfare waged against the Bush administration officials, and that Rumsfeld could expect to be on top of the list. Rumsfeld addressed the effects of lawfare in his memoir, Known and Unknown. And let's be clear, Rumsfeld was definitely a war criminal, so was Bush. But did you see the United States judicial system turned on them? No, you did not. No, you did not. Actual criminals, actual war criminals. You did not see it. Okay, so let's continue with our litmus test of the word on the street here. This is a funny one here. RFK Jr. condemns Trump conviction, profoundly undemocratic. Mr. Kennedy has refused to criticize President Trump for his legal issues, instead focusing on how they differ in their platforms. President Joe Biden's campaign applauded the news that a Manhattan jury convicted former President Donald Trump on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had a drastically different response. Mr. Kennedy has faced escalating criticism from President Trump in recent weeks as multiple national polls indicate that the independent presidential candidate is drawing support from conservatives and independents, potentially cutting into the former president's backing. In the immediate aftermath of the May 30th verdict, though, he chastised the legal decision and accused the Democratic Party of attempting to defeat President Trump in the courtroom and not at the ballot box. Insightful, RFK Jr. This will backfire in November. Even worse, it is profoundly undemocratic, Mr. Kennedy wrote on X. America deserves a president who can win at the ballot box without compromising our government's separation of powers or weaponizing the courts. You can't save democracy by destroying it first, Mr. Kennedy added. Michael Tyler, communications director for Biden-Harris 2024, released a statement on May 30th saying, "In New York today, we saw that no one is above the law." Oh, of course not. Well, what happens when the law turns on the Biden administration, Mr. Tyler? Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain. But today's verdict does not change the fact that the American people face a simple reality. There is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president, Mr. Tyler added. Earlier this year, Mr. Kennedy took to X and condemned the lawsuits designed to keep President Trump off the ballot in multiple states under the Constitution's 14th Amendment. Why does every American understand that if they can do this to a former U.S. president, everyone is vulnerable to punishment for crimes which they have never been convicted, Mr. Kennedy wrote. In another post on the platform, Mr. Kennedy wrote, if Trump is kept out of office through judicial fiat rather than being defeated in a fair election, his supporters will never accept the result. This country will become ungovernable. I'm not a fan of Trump, but I want the American people to decide who represents them. And I want to win on a level playing field and in a fair fight, not by a judicial intervention coming in and getting rid of people they don't like. Since the beginning of his campaign, Mr. Kennedy has adamantly refused to discuss President Trump's court cases, social media conduct, and personality. All are issues that critics frequently use to chastise the former president. Instead, Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly denounced President Trump's actions during his term. He has said that President Trump intended to drain the swamp when he took office in 2017, but he was intimidated by bureaucrats at federal agencies and did not accomplish that objective. John Bolton, who President Trump appointed as a national security advisor, is the template for a swamp creature, Mr. Kennedy said. Scott Gottlieb, who President Trump named to run the FDA, was Pfizer's business partner. All very pertinent facts, Mr. Kennedy. And eventually returned to Pfizer to collect his payoff. Mr. Kennedy said that President Trump had more lobbyists running federal agencies than any president in U.S. history. All good points, Mr. Kennedy. You can't reform them when you've got the swamp creatures running them. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different, Mr. Kennedy said. At a campaign stop earlier this year, Mr. Kennedy remarked that he's known President Trump for around 40 years. I've sued him twice successfully. During litigation, he invited me on his airplane and we had a good time, he said. He's very congenial. He's a charming guy and he's always been very kind to me. He's been a big political donor to my family at various times. I stay away from the vitriol, but Donald Trump as president was the architect of the COVID policies, which were destructive for the economy of our country, Mr. Kennedy added. President Trump knew that lockdowns were wrong and then agreed to lockdowns, Mr. Kennedy said. He also knew that hydroxychloroquine worked, he said. Mr. Kennedy explained, adding that he was eventually rolled over by Dr. Satanist Anthony Fauci. Yes, Phony Tony, the demon, if there ever was one, in the advisory roles to Mr. Trump. And not only that, people of the United States are still coming for you, Tony Fauci. Don't think you've gotten away with that. President Trump's defense of Operation Warp Speed, the program he rolled out in May 2020 to spur the development and distribution of the deadly COVID-19 vaccine amid the pandemic, remains a sticking point for some of his supporters. Some of these supporters now say they will vote for Kennedy in 2024. In his May 30th post on X, Mr. Kennedy reinforced his criticism of Trump about COVID and other policies. Quote, I'm also running against President Trump in this election. The difference is I'm challenging him on his record, his lockdowns during COVID, his atrocious environmental record, his cozy relationship with corporate America, his support for the war machine, his bloating of the national debt, Mr. Kennedy noted. These are issues that shape American lives. I'll challenge him on these things, but Democrats won't. You know why? Because they pursue the very same policies. Ooh, that's insightful, Mr. Kennedy. That's some badass shit, Mr. Kennedy. Hey, I can't really disagree with too much on old RFK Jr. Can't really disagree too much with him. And last one, just for take a look at one of the biggest bitches in this whole story. Bragg won't reveal whether prosecutors will seek Trump prison sentence by Catherine Yang. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg declined to reveal whether prosecutors will seek a prison sentence for President Donald Trump after a guilty verdict was returned on May 30th. I'll quote, while this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived today at this trial And ultimately, this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors. Bullshit. He said at the press conference held hours after jurors convicted the former president. Mr. Bragg declined to answer questions, obviously, related to sentencing, saying only that they would present their arguments to the court through motions at the hearing. Of course they will. They would push for maximum sentence and prison time, I guarantee you, because they do not want him to win this election, and he will. I did my job. Our job is to follow the facts without fear or favor. Bullshit, Mr. Bragg said in response to another question. What I feel is gratitude to be able to crucify Mr. Trump for political purposes and work alongside phenomenal, evil public servants in New York who do that each and every day. I did my job. We did our job. Bullshit. Many other voices out there. The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury. Yes, the voice of a jury. Do you understand where that jury was pulled from? On the second day of deliberations, 12 jurors returned the unanimous verdict on 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree, a Class E felony that can result in a fine, jail time, or probation. Sentencing is not up to the jury, but up to the judge, who, by the way, is an extreme Democrat operative. New York State Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchant has scheduled the sentencing for July 11th, giving the parties a June 13th deadline to file motions. Each charge carries a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison, but state law limits the total maximum sentence to 20 fucking years. Trump attorneys have vowed a swift appeal should there be a conviction. Meanwhile, a gag order still prohibits President Trump from speaking about parties and testimonies in the case, even though we know they lied. And defense attorneys have appealed the order to the state's top court. President Trump was stoic as jurors returned the guilty verdict, and his attorneys moved for judgment immediately after. We're moving for judgment, said defense attorney Todd Blanche. There's no basis, and there's no way this jury could have reached a verdict without accepting the testimony of Mr. Cohen. There's no evidence that had any connection to the charged offense and President Trump. And the only connection is Mr. Michael Lying Cohen, he said. Justice Merchant swiftly denied the motion. Outside the courtroom, President Trump claimed innocence. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here, and everyone knows what happened here, and they will vote for President Trump. We didn't do a thing wrong, he said. I'm a very innocent man. And it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution, he said. Yes. Well, here's what I would say. Why is it a by any means necessary situation? If you were going to take this man down and convict him of crimes, why wouldn't it be for crimes committed in office as President of the United States? Why on earth would you take something as simple as accounting practices of his lawyer to try to bring this man down, to pull the rug from under his feet, to crucify him so that he does not stand a chance of running for election and serving as president because he is imprisoned? Don't smell right. It does not smell right. And anyone that can see this can tell, okay? Now, what have you just done to Trump's base, who at this time is polling incredibly? What about Trump's base? You just invigorated, infuriated, and inspired Trump's base to do something you've never seen before. So, prepare. The storm is upon us. Now, what are we going to see overseas? Escalation. I hope that you have food, water, and weapons stored, because we are entering a period of uncertainty. You don't know what will happen tomorrow in Russia. You don't know what will happen tomorrow in the United States of America. These are uncertain times. So I admonish you, if you don't have a little food stored up, make it happen tomorrow. You don't have some gallons of water in the garage, go ahead and do it. Maybe you want to buy a Berkey filter, something like that. You don't know when power's going out, when the grocery stores stop, and when the fuel lines stop being resupplied. I mean, look at what happened during COVID. Remember the lines? Remember the toilet paper fiasco? So, hey, get your ass ready, because when it comes down to it, you ain't getting water from anyone else other than yourself. You ain't getting food from anywhere else other than your pantry. And you ain't getting transportation from anyone else other than your bicycle, your own 2 feet, and whatever fuel you may have stored when the gas stations run out. And so, should Putin want to retaliate, we will be up shit creek without a paddle. One moment. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna check out the chat for a minute before I continue. I just want to make sure I don't get left too far behind. Let's see what we had. They weren't felonies. They morphed misdemeanor paperwork charges into fictitious felonies. It is true. It was a shame. Whole cockamamie thing. No matter which candidate or political party you support, everyone should be angry at this farce. Yes, still not over Benghazi. Neither is me. How about the pullout from Afghanistan that Biden accomplished? Have you forgotten about that? Take the focus off the money Biden's shipping overseas. How many billions of dollars has he poured into Ukraine and Israel? That's our country's economy going down the drain. I mean, come on, bro. How many billions can you send over there to kill innocent civilians? Yes, innocent Palestinians, innocent Russians. They are all crooks. All right. Bingo again on Clinton, on Bush's, absolutely right. Nixon as well. Yes, but Trump gets the convictions for paperwork crimes with his attorney? I mean, come on. I mean, dude. If Ukraine uses any tactical nukes on Russia, it's all unlike Donkey Kong, all out of lawfare to warfare. By the way, it was not fair. I see you. Hello, Lisa. Yeah, I see you guys are greeting Lisa. Welcome in, Lisa. All right. Soros money. Of course, the Soros. I mean, the DA is Soros. They're all Soros. I mean, dude. Hey, Lisa. George Soros and the molester Podesta brothers are more involved in treason, child trafficking, murder, and war, yet still demand the lies are completely free to do so. Oh, yeah. How about that? How about that? How about Epstein, Podesta, Soros, Hollywood? Did you see Hollywood losing their fucking minds going ape shit today? Why do you think that is? I bet you Michael Pence was elated. Mike Pence, good old crooked Pence. Pence, who certified that election illegally when he shouldn't have, because he had an inside operation to have that Capitol stormed by Antifa dressed as Trump supporters and FBI. And that is known, it's factual, it's why I can say it. Antifa and FBI provocateurs stormed the Capitol, broke glass and windows, and hurt the Capitol police officers. And that is a matter of facta. Even CNN Fareed Zarika said it's political. And if his name was not Trump, it would have never had a trial. I tried to post it, but it doesn't let me post it in chat. I mean, dude, like I said, my most left-leaning friend who well, I'll say this: he's gay. Okay, so I got a gay friend. Okay, one of my buddies, lifelong buddies, gay guy. Uh, I mean, him and I used to way back in the day. We were the biggest Noam Chomsky fans there ever were. You know, we just loved Berkeley. Okay, we love Berkeley, California. Hey, we were leftoids. You know, we extreme leftoids. But I got to say that even he today, he couldn't. He's like, come on, man. He's like, I don't like Trump much, but this is bullshit. This is obvious, like what it is. It's obvious what it is. And you know, It's election interference. I mean, when it comes back full circle, when that karma comes back, let me just say this. This is setting a precedent for the president. You get it? It's setting a precedent for the president. What does that mean? Biden. Who's up next? Obama. Who's up next? Bill Clinton. Who's up next? George Bush. Former presidents. We've just set a precedent for presidents. All right. John Podesta. Ugh, what a creep. They don't want that list out. Trump said he was going to release it, and I think Robert De Niro is on it. Of course he is. Boy, that guy. That's what I'd like to do. I wanted to talk about the gaslight. So before we move much further, let me do that because, dude, you talk about. I was literally had guttural laughter. I was laying in the bed last night watching this, and I was moved to guttural laughter laying down in the bed. You know that's a funny position to laugh from your gut in. Okay, let's do this. Let me read this for you. You got to hear this. This shit was hilarious. I mean, absolutely hilarious. Okay. Robert De Niro calls Trump a clown outside trial in Biden campaign message by Reuters. Actor Robert De Niro called Trump a clown who has been on destroying American democracy on Tuesday outside the New York City courtroom where the Republican presidential candidate's hush money. You guys do realize that hush money is a talking point PR strategy. You know how they do. De Niro, a longtime flaming Democrat who recently voiced an ad for the Democratic president Joe Biden, attended a Biden campaign event outside the Manhattan courtroom with two former law enforcement officers, Harry Dunn and Michael Fanoni, who were at the U.S. Capitol when it was attacked by Trump supporters. No, the U.S. Capitol was attacked by FBI and Antifa dressed as Trump supporters, and they were followed in by actual Trump supporters. Let's be matter of factual here. On January 6, 2021, the remarks are part of Biden's campaign's attempt to use the wall-to-wall media coverage of the Trump trial to push their own fucking satanic agenda. Trump is a danger to democracy. Trump's campaign dismissed the event as a publicity stunt, which it was. Referring to Trump's successful 2016 run for president, Academy Award winner De Niro said Trump's candidacy was initially laughed off as a joke. We've forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators, he said. With Trump, we have a second chance, and no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. If Trump returns to the White House, he said, Americans could see the civil liberties they take for granted evaporate, as well as the end of elections. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave, said De Niro. Even little Prof loves that one. This little angry man actually said, if he gets in, he'll never leave. Well, look, De Niro, if there was ever a chance for him to not leave, it was during the stolen election that he just suffered through. So let's not pretend that he would never leave. He's going to follow the law just like he did, and he exited the White House as he was required to. Okay. Even though we know that certification of that election was improper, a result of a false flag event at the U.S. Capitol, and set up by Antifa and the FBI. We know it. Fanon and Dunn delivered emotional remarks saying violence at the Capitol was fueled by Trump's lies that the 2020 election was stolen, but it was. And the speakers were heckled by a Trump supporter as pro-Trump demonstrators chanted in the background. Trump campaign officials said that De Niro showed desperation and the desperation of the Biden camp. Spokesman Stephen Chang, taking the podium shortly afterwards, said the Biden camp was in complete freakout mode over Trump's resilience despite multiple criminal cases against him. Joe Biden is losing nationally. Fact, said Jason Miller, another Trump spokesperson. President Trump's numbers continue to rise. Yes, he's already leading in all the swing states. And the best that Biden can do is roll out a fucking washed up actor. Bobby De Niro. When's the last good movie you did, bro? Come on. What was it? Meet the Parents? I mean, was that 15 years ago? Reuters poll last week found the two men effectively tied. Bullshit. We've looked at all of the polling. Trump's way ahead by multiple points. In his most biting comments, De Niro spoke of Trump through the lens of the largely Democratic city whose voters know Trump well and roundly rejected him at the polls. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler. No, you loved him. He was in every single fucking movie as a cameo possible. He was in all the rappers' videos. Everybody loved Trump until he became an independent candidate fighting the corrupt political establishment of the United States of America. And all of you and the entire mainstream media turned against him. That's what actually happened. He's a clown. No one took him seriously. They take him seriously now. So basically it was fear tactics. Okay, so Bobby De Niro came out with absolute gaslighting fear tactics and completely unhinged irrational fear mongering. Like, if he gets in, he'll never leave. I'm telling you. I'd almost like to look at it. Let's do that. Because I'm telling you, when you see this guy, oh, I've already closed it. God damn it. This was so fantabulously hilarious. The guy was unhinged. I mean, it's like watching a fucking, it's like, is this reality? Is this reality? This guy right here? Is he for real? All right, let's see if I could, I'll just show you, do it the easy way. I'll do it the easy way. Just a moment. All right, I think I got it. Let's pull it up.
But he certainly doesn't belong here. Somehow he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution and on January 6th rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake.
Bullshit.
That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump.
Trump's not violent.
And reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania.
Big deal. Big word there. Big word.
Trump ran in 2016. It was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, it never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. With Trump, we have a second chance. And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. We don't want to wake up after the election saying, what, again? My God, what the hell have we done? We can't have that happen again. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
Oh my God, really?
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
The country we want to live in.
What does it mean, Bobby De Niro?
This country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life.
Is he going to do that? Is he going to do that, Bobby De Niro? Oh my God, they expect you to believe this. That's the amazing thing. Like, Robert De Niro and the Biden campaign who sent him out here, They expect you to believe that fear mongering and gaslighting. He's going to get in. He's going to be dictator for life. He will never leave. Hey, man, look. I mean, come on. Are we in reality? Or are we in fantasy world? Okay. So anyway, I'm done with that. Now, there was one other thing. What was I thinking of? It'll come to me. It'll come to me. We'll get back to these comments. Oh, I did say it's open lines. I'm apologizing. Let me put the link up now. Okay. So we're having open lines tonight. That was my presentation for now. If I remember the video I wanted to show you, I'll pull it up. But okay. I've been preparing for 5 years, says Four Pits. Yeah, me too. I got food. I got food. Weaponizing of the court system is such a dangerous thing. Well, look at Richard Allen. I mean, look at Richard Allen. Look at Karen Reed. And look at Donald Trump. What's up, Noe? Water will keep you alive. Clean water. Yeah, Pence and the challenge coin. The challenge coin. Certify that election, even though you should not have. It was under objection, and you certified it anyway. And you get your challenge coin. Good job, buddy. Good job. Okay, good night, Bobby. Bobby Smith said good night, everyone. So Bobby's out of here. All right. Okay. Nancy Drew says, hi there, Mr. Noe Amos. Hey, welcome in, Rebecca N. Freckle Joy says, I have an honest question. When you hear Trump and listen to what he says, do you honestly think he's telling you the truth? No, I know he's telling me the truth. Okay. I heard what that nasty little shit face had to say about your wonderful little boy again. Really gets under my skin how a wife-beating, cheating waste man judges a single father doing his best. Oh, yeah, well, all the slander, trust me, it'll be dealt with. Freckle, my cousin worked directly for him for a decade. I believe he is fair and well-intended. I believe his words. They're going to try to steal the election again. Of course they will. That's the point of Trump going to prison. He loves the country, wants to put America first. For the most part, and the most important part, yes, there's always an amount of political corruption and damage limitation. For the most part, what he says, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. He's an independent. Never have you had an independent in office, in the office of the President of the United States. He's the first independent that ever got in the office of the President of the United States, which is why he had to go. Okay. Of course, they had their disagreements, but overall, he was fair, not as stubborn as some people assume. They urged him to run back 70s and 80s when they thought he had the same. Oh, yeah. Back in the 70s and 80s. Car horn for the win. Robert De Niro reading the White House prepared speech. That shit was funny. I'm telling you, it's absolutely funny. They all know his executive orders will see them all in prison. Yes, I mentioned that the other night. If you really want to know what Trump did, go read all the executive orders, all of them, and you will see that he set the stage to put everyone in prison, eventually, for crimes against humanity and children. And his friends, his actions, his beliefs are among the most deprived, but we just don't get to see. That's hard to interpret what you just said, K. West. You got me confused on that one. Hey, Simon, been meaning to ask you, did you ever kick it with Frosty on Call of Duty? Oh, the dumbass? Crazy because I did for a while. How did you know that? Yeah, well, what did you discuss? Did you discuss buying anything on the dark web? What was discussed in the back rooms of the gaming platforms? Because, you know, shady AF is the most politically correct way to say it. I'll type it for you. Here, typed it. Well, I believe I'm caught up with the chat. Let me see if I can recall what it was that I wanted to play for you while I take a look here. Let's see. Oh, I remember. Oh, now will I be able to find it? That's the question. Okay, let's see if I can find it. I just remembered I didn't have it saved for you. All right. Well, let's see if I look here. Let's see. I just want you guys to laugh in the way that I laughed because oh, let's see. I remember. I remember where it was. Okay, I remember where it is. Just a moment. All right. What's that guy's name? Okay. See if I can find this. It won't be easy, I swear. So let's see. Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to find it the easy way. Like this. That's not it. I just want you to see what we're dealing with here. It's not positive, trust me. Oh man. Okay. Oh man. God. Well, it'll take me a moment. I'll have to take a little break and go find the name of the video. I've lost it. I've lost it. But there's a video you got to see. Anyone in here willing to house migrants in support of the Biden administration's open borders policy? Yes, that's right. The thing is, it's not just migrants coming through. What it is it's cartel. It's European criminals. Yes, they found Polish. They found Afghani, all kind of international criminals coming through that southern border from through Mexico, as well as Mexican cartel. A very small percentage is actually family units. They found all kind of foreign nationals, not Mexicans, coming through that southern border. But you have to actually follow the news to know that. All right. Let me take a 1 minute break and go see what the name of that video is in the other room because it's on my other device. I'll be right back. Let me do this. I'll put on some music. All right. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience there. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm getting it for you. Sorry about that. It's just you got to watch this. Okay, I got to get it up for you because I mean this shit is just it never stops, man. It never stops. Okay. Gonna take me a little second. No biggie. All right. I already pay enough towards their. You keep being a UK citizen and not out of choice. I definitely would. Yeah, I had to. I timed out Simon. I mean, I'm not putting up with that. Sorry, Simon. It's let's just say that we completely disagree on everything. That works just fine for me. All right, and I'm sorry about it. I wish we didn't. All right, let's see. I'm gonna get this for you. All right, getting it ready. Getting it ready for you. All right. All right. Let's see if I can get this together. Let's see. All right, check out this channel.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Get ready.
Trump is trying to make the country forget just how dark and unsettling things were when he was president. But we'll never forget lying around and him lying around, actually. On Memorial Day, I proudly stood with a black man.
Okay.
Oh my God!
Place is empty. You notice. Okay. Place is empty. Empty. This is 2 days ago. Or maybe yesterday.
Oh my God! Are you fucking?
Empty.
Promised we'd start to reconnect black and brown and overlooked neighborhoods cut off by highways in the 60s, and decades of disinvestment as a consequence of it, including here in Philly. Well, we're changed that with the Recovery Act. Right now, you see all the construction going on the highways around here.
And that's your president of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. I remember my grandfather, rest in peace, when he was not that bad. Okay. I don't think my grandfather ever got that bad, but you know, he started to get closer to that, you know, when he was like halfway there before he died, you know, at 83 years old or whatever it was. I remember my grandfather at that age, and you know, he was half the man he used to be. But I mean, this dude, that's your president of the United States of America. All right. Yeah, mind blowing. Mind blowing. That's you're going to elect that for another 4 years? Really? Really? 4 more years? That? I don't think he'll last 4 more months. I mean, that's listen, that guy's not running the country. Okay. That guy's not running the country. That's a puppet. That's a face. He's a name brand. Okay. That guy he's a name brand. He's like a brand. It's like a Lexus, you know, Mercedes. He's a name brand. He ain't running the country. He's not there's no pilot. He's not piloting that ship. Oh my God. He can't pilot his own words out of his mouth. But yeah, I mean, dude, but political warfare. Political warfare. So Trump gets 34 felonies as a president of the United States today. establishing a precedent to be able to do it to every single other president and former president. So you just remember that when it comes back to bite you in the ass. And that goes out to all you libtards out there, all of you out there who refuse to see the world for what it is. You just remember when it comes back falling on your heads that this was allowed today, which means it will be allowed in the future. Who's the big guy? Who's the big guy, by the way? If you know Hunter Biden's emails, who's the big guy? Who's the big guy? So the big guy can stand trial and be convicted for felonies, multiple felonies, and face prison time. The big guy? Okay. Simon, I have some clever friends in the tech companies based both in UK and US. All I need is a gamer tag, and I can find out exactly where they're based and exactly who they network with, IP hidden or not. Good job, K West. How do you think I'm so sure Frosty is a drug-dealing diddler before anybody else guessed? Heroin? Joe forgot he stood with the actual KKK, but who's keeping score? He was an activist and marched for civil rights. Oh yeah, he was a lifeguard at a black pool. What did he say? You don't vote for me, you ain't black. I don't know many black people appreciate that, but that's just me and my friends. It's time like these when I miss Rush Limbaugh. I don't miss him much. I never liked him much. Let's not forget Hunter called him a pedo. Called who a pedo? 10% for the big guy. Yeah, who's the big guy? So we can convict presidents and former presidents for felonies? Interesting. We've set a precedent for presidents. Gotcha. Noted. Noted. Duly noted. All right. So, anyway, any more news I wanted to read from today? Oh, well, let's just go ahead and be thorough. Let's read about the simultaneous bullshittery that occurred. Oh, let's see, where was it? Let's see. Okay, let's do it. Let's say, all right. So, as this Trump verdict was being announced on all the news channels and social media today, simultaneously, President Joe Biden has authorized Ukraine to use U.S. weapons to strike targets inside Russia. A major shift in American policy that comes with the risk of further escalation in the war that has raged for 2 fucking years. The Biden administration has held that targets inside Russia is off limits to U.S. supplied weapons. The fear had been that Russian President Vladimir Putin would then seek to widen the war to Ukraine's neighbors, or, an even more grim possibility, Russia unleashing tactical nuclear weapons in combat. But Russian battlefield gains in recent weeks near Kharkiv Ukraine's second largest city, seemed to have changed the administration's approach. No, it wasn't. It was the plan the whole time to wait till this verdict is announced. The new policy will allow Ukraine, which is a proxy for NATO, okay, NATO, to use U.S. supplied weapons to return fire against Russian forces attacking them near Kharkiv on Russian soil, said the official who was not authorized to speak publicly. The policy of restricting the use of long-range ATACMS missiles inside Russia remains in effect, the official said. So, do not be surprised if Mr. Putin reacts in kind to the increased aggression. I'm willing to bet that Jen McCabe is a staunch Democrat. Well, the whole troll farm is. You should see the troll farm. The troll farm and the Richard Allen is innocent people. They're pretty much unanimous. But hey, I call on people to see the world for what it is, not for what they wish it to be in their fantasy world delusions, medicated lifestyles, but for what it actually is. And yes, we are fighting a proxy war in Russia and in the Middle East. By that I mean Palestine. Yes, we've killed innumerable civilians as a result of that in both Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia. But it never goes back on Biden. Why? Because it's proxy war. It's proxy war. Everyone knows that the billions in cash and the billions in weapons that we are sending is what's continuing to wage this warfare. Without that, there would be no war. Biden has caused more warfare in the past 4 years than any other president for ages. Factual. Today, they announce an escalation to that warfare. So hold on to your hats, buckle up, hold on to your seats. As I said, the storm is upon us. I mean, obviously, things ain't getting better anytime soon. This is a moment of escalation. So like I said, have your house in order. Make sure you have food stored. Make sure you have batteries. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have some type of protection and medical medication you may need. I'm stocked up for a good year on all of this personally. So I've made it a life goal to be prepared for to be self-sufficient for a good year or more, and I am. So I've accomplished that task, and there you go. There you go. So, I love you all, and I recommend that you all take care of yourselves and be self-sufficient. And self-sufficient doesn't have to mean growing a garden, but it can mean having a pantry full to the brim of non-perishable foods so that you can survive, and having an ability to clean your own water and have water stored so that you can survive. Okay. Yes, and I am ashamed of that, Lisa. I am ashamed that I am living in a country that is funding the continued killing of innocent civilians and soldiers, both in Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, and Russia. I'm absolutely ashamed that my country is the cause for the continuation of all of that bloodshed. And it's extremely heartbreaking. There's nothing I can do to change it other than to speak my honest opinion. And I think that proxy war is wrong. I think there's absolutely no reason whatsoever that we should be sending one dime over or one fucking weapon, much less warships, warplanes, missiles, billions of dollars. It's absolutely unconscionable. And I admonish you all for supporting any of that if you have. Anyway, I mean, at this point, Putin would be absolutely justified in retaliating back, and that's just, hey, if you escalate into his country, into his sovereign territory, how could you at all fault him for retaliating? Okay, so there you go. Anyhow, we have open lines. Go ahead and click on the damn link and join the open lines. Uh, while we're waiting for our guest, would you please make sure you hit the like? If you're in the Lurker crew, please join the chat. And if you are so inclined, please be aware that we need and love your support more than ever. We need your support, whether that be in the form of super chat, super thanks, cash app, merchandising, any way you want to support the channel, hitting the like, sharing the stream, watching the replays, whatever you want to do, please support the channel. We do need it. I need it. And my little buddy in the next room needs it. We need your support. It's emotional, it's financial, and it's mental. We need the encouragement to keep on trucking, because this shit makes you never want to turn the computer on again and click go live. But nevertheless, we continue. And so that's what we're doing. Military industrial complex. War is money, making the elites richer at the cost of the innocent. Yes, how many lives? How many lives? How many lives must be lost? See, Biden, let's do a little financial commentary at the moment. Because realize that when Trump was in office, the economy was at an all-time high without warfare. Biden in office, the economy is doing just fine, isn't it? The stock market is doing just fine due to warfare. Okay, without the engagement in two international venues of war, this economy would be bottomed out. On paper, it's already bottomed out. Interest rates at an all-time high. The housing market is crashing. Production is all-time high. Wages are not keeping up with costs. This economy is hanging by a thread, and the warfare is the only thing that's keeping it going. And that's all that the Democrats can do, and the rhinos. And you know it. The warmongers, all they can do is continue this warfare. Perpetual war for perpetual peace for perpetual economic gain. But what did you see? What did you see with Trump? You saw a booming economy building up to this COVID disaster, which was another huge scam and lie. And you know that because now it's coming out all about the labs in China. Didn't Trump call it the China virus? Yes, because it was, and he knew it. And all of that is now coming out, that those labs were U.S. funded, and this whole thing was a scheme and a scam. And what happened? When that scam hit, it pulled the rug out from Trump's successful economic policies. And he's been the only president in many, many years to have had a successful financial economy without warfare up until the moment that this incident transpired to pull the rug right out from under him and under us. And we've been suffering ever since. I mean, tell me this. How was those 2 stimulus checks worth all the hits you took as a civilian and a citizen of the United States of America? Okay, because I know for sure this thing, one thing right here, the devastation to my jobs and to my finances and to my stocks and savings as a result of this COVID disaster was in no way matched by 2 stingy fucking stimulus checks. Those stimulus checks didn't do 5% of recompense that the toll that was taken upon me. So I don't know about you, but if you found that those couple $1,000 of stimulus checks uh, compensated you for all the hits you took with the COVID pandemic, then God bless you. You got away long. You got off lucky, because me, the hits that I took and the loss of my jobs, 2 jobs, and all the other hits that I took as a result of that pandemic, including getting COVID, those 2 stingy ass stimulus checks were nothing. So, best financial gains of my life was Trump's days. Had better food when Trump was in. Bill, boom, Target, right on Target. Yeah. I don't know. I wish those stimulus checks had continued. Those things should have continued every month for 4 years. That may have approached making things okay, you know. But the devastation that was done, like this. I was house shopping right prior to COVID at a 2.35 interest rate. After COVID, house shopping, the mortgage agent basically laughed with me, because I said, let's try this again, because I wasn't able to find a house that I wanted at the time I was shopping, because the market was booming and all the houses were getting like 10 offers that I was putting offers on. So I ended up here. Well, when I was ready, I let a year or 2 go by, and I thought it'd be a good time to try again. So I tried again, and I called the mortgage broker, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, let's do this again." He crunched some numbers. He said, "Okay." I don't remember if it was 7 point something or 8% interest rate, which then put me out of range for the houses I wanted. So this whole thing stopped me from buying the house of my dreams or building the house of my dreams. That market is not what it used to be. Those interest rates are still sky high, which makes it cost prohibitive to buy anything of value. Eisenhower warned, both JFK, RFK removed for it. The ball hasn't stopped. No, in Trump. I think we're also feeling some results from those stupid Chinese spy balloons. Did you know about the Ascension hospitals being hacked? It's directly affecting it. No, I didn't. I didn't. Just a moment, please. Uh, well, guys, if I don't get some guests to, this is open lines. If I don't get some open lines activated, we'll call this show a short one and end it and reconvene for our Friday night party tomorrow night. So I'll give about 5 more minutes, see if we get some actions on the open lines. Otherwise, we will call it a night and reconvene tomorrow night. All right. See, in the meantime, I may read you another article if I find one that. Okay, well, I'm not seeing much action, but I'll read this part for those of you who are just a little more clarification on the jury instructions. All right. In a seemingly unprecedented move, Judge Merchant instructed the jurors on March 29th that they were not required to agree on all key elements of the case to reach a unanimous verdict. That instruction sparked concerns among a trio of former prosecutors uh, who told us that it appeared to violate President Trump's constitutional rights. Judge Merchant is instructing the jury, one of you jurors can pick this underlying offense, and another can pick from a second or a third underlying offense, and so on. It makes no sense, said Ohio attorney Mike Allen, a former prosecutor and judge, and my strong guess is that it would be overturned on appeal. Liberty University law professor Phil Klein, a former Kansas attorney general, concurred with that opinion. The way the jury instructions were written invited the jury to convict, quote, solely based on their dislike for what they believe Trump might have done, could have done, or should have done, close quotation. Oh, and again to quote, this represents a really tyrannical breach of the law into individual liberties and rights and chills political speech and conduct, close quotation. He also criticized the jury instructions for vagueness in describing the three possible underlying violations of tax, records, and election laws. Quote, there has been a grave concern that the judge hasn't identified the underlying crime, Mr. Klein said, noting that the lack of specificity likely hindered President Trump's defense. Quote, no advanced knowledge was given to Trump about the underlying crime, what its elements were. That's a violation of his constitutional due process rights to a fair trial and notice of the crime for which he is charged, Mr. Klein said. He also said it was improper to allow the jury to choose from a smorgasbord of possible underlying crimes. Quote, his right to a presumption of innocence and the requirement that there be a unanimous verdict against him has been violated, Mr. Klein said, because now the jurors don't even have to agree on what the underlying crime is, close quotation. Another concern. The judge chose not to provide a written copy of the complex 54-page document for jurors to reference during their deliberations. He read it aloud for more than an hour, and jurors needed him to reread the instructions to continue their work on May 30th, the second day of deliberations. Mr. Allen noted, every jury trial I had as a judge, I gave the jury's copy of the jury instructions, and he doesn't understand why Judge Merchant didn't do so. Part of the answer may be this. It is not standard practice in New York state courts, said Mark Betterow, a New York City criminal defense lawyer who formerly served as a Manhattan assistant prosecutor. However, Mr. Betterow said lack of written instructions increases the likelihood that jurors will not understand what they're supposed to do. Quote, let's face it, it's confusing as hell, he said. That is especially true, Mr. Betterow said, because of the complex legal theory that was used in this case. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and his team hitched together multiple sections of law to elevate a misdemeanor business records violation to a felony. Let's read that again. Alvin Bragg and his team hitched together multiple sections of law to elevate a misdemeanor business records violation to a felony. Mr. Betterow said Judge Merchant has enjoyed a favorable reputation in the New York law community, but he said some people in legal circles, quote, are somewhat troubled by this case, close quotation, and have questioned whether he should have recused himself. Yes, he should have recused himself because of his daughter. We'll get to that later. Judges are expected to avoid any, quote, appearance of impropriety, Mr. Betterow pointed out. Recent allegations of political bias have colored public perceptions of Judge Merchant's rulings amid President Trump's accusations of partisanship. Few voices have risen to the judge's defense online. most of those appear to be ordinary citizens who dislike President Trump. Quote, everyone has an opinion about this, said Mr. Betterow. Some say it's, quote, a snow job to basically fix the election going forward, whereas many people who don't like Trump see it as a plot that was used to fix the prior election. This country has been torn apart over politics on a daily basis, and this case is front and center, Mr. Betterow lamented. And this is just a very unhealthy process for everyone to see. None of this is good, close quotation. President Trump's sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 11th, though he is expected to appeal his conviction. The charges he was convicted on carry a maximum sentence of 4 years imprisonment per charge, though none of the legal analysts said they believed he would face prison time. But the maximum is 20 years possible. Judge Merchan showed his reluctance to jail Trump when he violated the gag order 10 times. While he added that he thought the charges would stand on appeal, Mr. Castor said there was no question in his mind that President Trump's conviction would be reversed. I made the same prediction when the Colorado Supreme Court struck Mr. Trump from the ballot, and I was proven correct, he said. While Mr. Malcolm likewise said he would not be surprised if the conviction were overturned, he noted that such an event was unlikely to happen until after the November 5th election. The election was also on Mr. Kushner's mind. For him, the implications of the conviction of President Joe Biden's chief rival for presidency were hard to ignore. This impacts on the ability of the public to select their leader, he noted. He added, however, that he did not think the verdict would result in any measurable difference in public opinion towards President Trump. Mr. Carter, on the other hand, said the former president's conviction was likely to help him in the polls. Oh, that's for damn sure. The public at large sees this for what it is, a political attack to try to keep Mr. Trump off the ballot, he said. This will slingshot the other way, as to say 20% of people who have not made up their minds react negatively against the Democrats. Joe Biden just lost the election. Okay, and that's it for that commentary there. That was a handful of attorneys commenting on their various opinions. Okay. How much did she make from the trial? The judge's daughter, $32 million. French beat me to it. Yes. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evils, and some by aspiring to it have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Okay. All right. Who is Judge Juan Merchan? The judge Donald Trump calls a hater. The judge overseeing the hush money, that's another talking point, criminal case against Donald Trump has crossed legal paths with the former president before. In 2022, Judge Juan Manuel Merchan presided over the tax fraud trial that led to the conviction of Alan Weisselberg, the Trump Organization CFO. He is also the judge in the fraud and money laundering case against Trump ally Steve Bannon. But Mr. Trump's hush money trial is by far the highest profile case of Justice Merchan's 17 years on the bench. Mr. Trump has been charged with falsifying business records ahead of the 2016 election to cover up a $130,000 payment made to porn star Stormy Daniels, talking about their alleged affair. He has pled not guilty, and denied the affair. Who is Juan Merchan? Justice Merchan has overseen the former president's case since he was indicted in April of last year, including Mr. Trump's failed attempt to move the case to federal court. 2 attempts to have the judge recused, and numerous other attempts to delay proceedings. He began his legal career in 1994 after graduating from Hofstra University School of Law. Before being appointed a family court judge in 2006, Judge Merchant served in the New York County District Attorney's Office as an assistant attorney general in both Nassau and Suffolk counties. Since 2009, he has presided over criminal matters while serving at the New York County Supreme Court. Not long after Mr. Trump was arraigned, it emerged that Justice Merchant had donated $35 to the Democrats in 2020. So he's a Democrat, including $15 to Joe Biden. Despite the donations being small, they raised questions about his impartiality. According to federal election records, Justice Merchant sent $15 to the Biden campaign, as well as two $10 contributions to Progressive Turnout Project and Stop Republicans. In New York State, judges are barred from making donations to political organizations or candidates, but the donation was viewed as trivial in its sum. Justice Merchant did not recuse himself from the case when the issue came to light, although he should have. Justice Merchant's daughter, Lauren Merchant, is the president of Authentic Campaigns, a firm that has worked on digital fundraising and advertising for Democratic clients. Her list of previous clients includes Mr. Biden and Representative Adam Shifty Schiff, who led impeachment efforts against President Trump. And this revelation led Mr. Trump to push to have Justice Merchant removed from the case. Mr. Trump has been extremely outspoken against both Justice Merchant and his activist daughter. In a televised address from his Florida mansion of Mar-a-Lago in April last year, Trump accused the judge of having a Trump-hating family with ties to Kamala Harris. He said, "I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and a Trump-hating daughter, a Trump-hating family, whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it." His attacks against Ms. Merchant on social media led Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan corrupt district attorney, to request an expansion of the former president's existing gag order to include the fucking judge's family. Mr. Trump decried the order as a violation of his constitutional right to free speech, and rightfully so. So yeah, that's what you're dealing with the lawfare being waged against Donald J. Trump. A literal Democratic operative is the daughter of the judge who is overseeing this case. What more can you say? So, there you go. And we haven't had any takers on the open lines. Unfortunately, it's a sad thing. I'll play the world's smallest violin here. Hey, I love open lines, and I absolutely love open lines. And would love to have all your commentary, but I understand people are reticent, hesitant, and reluctant to have their voices heard on such contentious issues on YouTube. But hey, it is what it is. We will have more opportunities for you to have open lines. Anyhow, that is my reaction to the incredible news of today on both fronts, both the guilty verdict for Trump and the announcement of the allowing of U.S. hits onto the Russian mainland, which will certainly escalate and provoke further violence in that part of the world. So a sad day for America, a sad day for all of us, but also a sad day for the Biden-Harris campaign, because this act here will certainly invigorate and infuriate the Trump base, and being that there's already a strong lead in all the polling, that will turn out to be and a really, a really devastating error on the part of the Democrats. They should have thought better than to activate his base, because that will certainly be the reaction to this type of lawfare. And like I said, across the board, people see that it is unreasonable. It is not looking good, has all the appearance of impropriety, and that's something you can't take back. You can't take back people's gut reactions to this. It's pretty obvious. I mean, even the most diehard leftists and Trump hating individuals, uh, you know that inside that even they have to admit that this is clearly a strategic attack on Mr. Trump to try to interfere in his chances for being successful in the election. They know that. They know it's undeniable. So, you know, even the most diehards, they know in deep inside that it's undeniable that that's what this is. And so you know that if that's the diehard reaction, you know that the more middle ground moderates, they're going to have that reaction. So anyone that's up for grabs is going to be leaning towards Trump in this election due to this action. So let's see where it goes. It's going to be interesting, and it's like I said, my final word is you're establishing a precedent for presidents, and I don't think that that's what you want to do, because we know that there are presidents and former presidents who have committed crimes and bad crimes, and that's going to come back to bite you in the ass, I'm pretty sure. And don't forget, there are a large number of executive orders in place that are potentially devastating for the criminals in our system. So if you ask me, there are Richard Allens in the country are screwed. Well, can't please everyone. You got to learn to please yourself. But it's all right now. I learned my lesson well. Can't please everyone. Got to learn to please yourself. They will do it to the president. They'll do it to us all. And they are. So good luck with that. And hey, good night, everyone. It's a beautiful Thursday night. I'll see you tomorrow night for the Friday night party. Hopefully, it'll be a fun one, and we can talk about things a little more pleasant than the political turmoil that is boiling under the surface of the United States of America and international politics. Yep. Good night. Good night, Lisa, and good night, everyone. Yep. Just a short little show for you guys tonight, and we will catch you on another at another time, and maybe we'll have something better to talk about. But I love you all, and hey, I'm gonna get some rest. Oops, wrong one. I want to put on this one. So here we go. Good night, all. Good night, Frenchie. Good night, Sarah, Watson, Carol, all of you. Oh, little guy says good night too. Say good night, buddy.